The Starfinder glided silently through the endless black of space, a solitary spark of human ingenuity in a vast, cold universe. Its sleek silver hull reflected the distant glow of stars, making it seem almost like a moving star itself. Commander Elias Grant sat in the pilot's chair, his hands lightly resting on the controls, eyes scanning the endless darkness ahead. It was peaceful here, far from any known civilization. This was the frontier, the place humans had only begun to explore, starboard sensors picking up a slight gravitational anomaly. "Commander," said Lena Hart, the ship's young engineer, her voice calm but attentive over the comm system. Her fingers moved deftly across the holographic display. "Analyzing streams of incoming data?" "Describe it," Elias replied, his tone steady. Years of experience had taught him to remain calm, even in uncertainty. "It's faint. It's like a small cluster of asteroids, but the readings are unusual," Lena said. She hesitated for a moment, her brow furrowed. "The gravity seems controlled somehow." Elias leaned forward. "Controlled. Like artificial." "Possibly," Lena said. "I haven't seen anything like this before." Elias nodded. "Keep monitoring it. Do not approach yet. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with before we change course." Outside the viewport, the stars stretched endlessly. The Starfinder moved like a tiny dart through a calm ocean, invisible except to those watching closely. It carried a small crew, just enough to manage the ship efficiently, but not so many that life support would be overburdened. They were explorers, scientists, engineers, and navigators, all trained to adapt to the unpredictable. The Starfinder was not a warship, but it carried technology capable of defending itself in subtle, clever ways. Unknown to the humans aboard, the Starfinder had already attracted attention. Far in the darkness, beyond any human sensors, a group of alien ships drifted silently. Their hulls shimmered in colors humans could barely perceive, and their movements were precise, almost predatory. These were the Zeroth, a species that believed in strength above all else and had long underestimated humans. They had watched, curious, as humans ventured farther into the galaxy. And now they had spotted a lone human ship moving confidently in uncharted space. "This one will be easy," said the Zeroth commander, his voice cold and sure in the alien tongue. He studied the Starfinder through the lenses of advanced sensors. "A single human vessel, without backup. Capture it, and we will show our strength to the rest of this region. They are weak, they are slow, they are nothing." The Zenith fleet began to position themselves, gliding through the void like a swarm of hunters closing in on prey. Each ship was armed with energy pulses capable of destroying the Starfinder in seconds, or so they thought. Back aboard the Starfinder, life continued with quiet precision. The crew were aware they were entering uncharted territory, but there was no fear, only focus. Captain Grant stood at the center of the bridge, scanning the information that streamed from the ship's sensors. The gravitational anomaly had not changed in strength, but it remained unusual. "Lena, can you run a long-range scan? See if there's anything artificial about this cluster?" Elias asked. "I'm on it," she said, fingers moving quickly. Lines of light and data floated around her, forming complex charts of the stars. Asteroid clusters and faint energy signatures. "It's odd," she said finally. "There's a pattern in the readings. Something is definitely controlling the gravity. But it's not life as we know it. It's intelligent, maybe?" Elias nodded slowly. "Keep observing. Let's see what it wants us to find." In the quiet moments that followed, the Starfinder moved closer to the anomaly. Its engines hummed softly, a reminder that even in the deepest darkness, humans had created technology that could carry them anywhere. Lena worked at her station, monitoring systems, while the rest of the crew adjusted the ship's trajectory with precision. Every movement was calm, deliberate, and careful. Suddenly, the ship's sensors flickered. A new reading appeared, something unfamiliar. Elias leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "What is it?" he asked. Lena's hands froze for a moment. "Multiple ships. Moving fast. I didn't detect them before. They weren't here a second ago." Elias straightened. "Aliens. They don't match any known patterns," Lena said. "But yes, it's intelligent, coordinated, and they're approaching us." The bridge fell silent for a moment. The crew exchanged glances, but there was no panic. Humans had faced uncertainty before, and it had always brought out the best in them. "On screen," Elias said. The viewport flickered, and then the shapes of the Zirath ships appeared. Their forms were elegant, but alien, shaped unlike any human design. They surrounded the Starfinder, cutting off escape routes as easily as a net would trap a fish. Their lights shimmered like stars themselves, but sharper, more menacing. "Send a message," Elias said. "I want to know their intentions." The message line opened, and a sharp, digital voice filled the bridge. "Humans, you are alone. Surrender immediately, or face destruction." The words were meant to intimidate, but Elias did not flinch. He looked at his crew, who were ready. "Prepare defensive systems," he said, "but keep it measured. We don't know their capabilities fully. We will defend ourselves if needed, but we will not start a fight unnecessarily." The crew moved with quiet efficiency. Shields hummed into place, energy fields forming around the hull in faint blue arcs. Engines prepared for sudden maneuvers? While Lena worked on analyzing the alien ship's energy signatures. "They're scanning us," Lena said, "but their sensors can't get a full read on our systems. Our shielding, our hull, it's confusing them," Elias nodded. "Good, keep it that way. Let's make them learn a lesson about underestimating humans." Outside, the Zirath ships flickered with light as they prepared their first attack. A pulse of energy shot toward the Starfinder, designed to disable it instantly. But when it reached the ship's shield, the pulse did not hit as expected. The shield absorbed the energy, reflecting it back in a precise arc that disabled 2 of the alien ships instantly. The crew of the Starfinder exchanged glances. Not with fear, but with quiet satisfaction. Their training in technology, combined with careful planning, had given them an unexpected edge. The Zirth commander's voice came over the come again, this time filled with disbelief. "Impossible. These humans." "They how?" Elias smiled faintly. "Humans adapt," he said simply. "We learn, and we survive." For the first time, the humans on the Starfinder realized that being alone in the vastness of space was not a weakness. It was a chance to show their ingenuity, their creativity, and their spirit. Every move they made, every calculation, every shield adjustment reflected what humans had always done: best turn adversity into opportunity. As the Starfinder continued its path through the nebula, it was no longer just a small exploration vessel. It had become a symbol of humanity's resilience. Outnumbered, outgunned, and alone, it was still undefeated. And somewhere in the darkness, the Zirath watched, beginning to understand that humans were far more than what they had expected. The crew of the Starfinder did not speak much after that. There was no celebration yet. The encounter was only beginning, but a quiet confidence settled over them. They knew that whatever lay ahead, humans had something the Zirath had underestimated: the ability to think, adapt, and endure in ways no other species could match. And so, the lone human ship moved forward through the stars, a small but shining testament to what humanity could achieve. One ship, one crew, one determination against the unknown, and already the universe had begun to take notice. The Starfinder drifted silently for a moment, but the calm was only temporary. Outside, the vast blackness of space began to shimmer with alien lights. The Zirath ships moved with coordinated precision, closing in from all directions. Their energy cores glowed like molten fire, and faint waves of interference rippled through the Starfinder's sensors. "Commander."
Out there.
Lena Hart's voice was steady but alert. "They're surrounding us. Their formation. It's perfect. They could hit us from any angle." Elias Grant stood, his eyes fixed on the view screen. The alien fleet was larger than he had anticipated. Yet despite the overwhelming odds, he felt no fear. Instead, he felt the familiar clarity that came in moments of challenge. "Keep calm," he said. "We've trained for situations like this. Our goal is to survive and gather information, not to fight unless absolutely necessary." The Zirath commander's voice cut sharply through the comm system, cold and commanding. "Humans, you are alone. Surrender or be destroyed." Elias leaned forward, resting his hands on the control panel. "They don't understand us," he muttered quietly. Then, to the CUM system, he replied, "We are explorers, not invaders. We do not wish to fight, but we will defend ourselves if attacked." There was a long pause. On the screens, the Zerith ships pulsed with anticipation, as if unsure how to respond. Then, without warning, a pulse of bright energy shot toward the Starfinder. It moved fast, a jagged streak cutting through space. The crew braced, expecting a catastrophic impact, but the Starfinder's shields responded with a quiet hum. The energy pulse met the adaptive barrier, and instead of passing through, it bent in an unusual arc and ricocheted back toward the alien fleet. Two Zerith ships shook violently, their lights flickering. Before going completely silent, the bridge crew blinked in disbelief. "Two ships. Gone," Lena whispered. "They underestimated us," Elias said, his voice calm but firm. "They thought we were weak. They thought we'd break under pressure. They were wrong." The Zerith commander's voice crackled with shock. "Impossible." They reflected the pulse. Lena worked quickly, her fingers flying over the holographic interface. "It's our shields. They're adaptive. They respond to energy attacks in real time, learning their patterns and adjusting instantly." Elias nodded. "Good. Keep monitoring. Let's see how far their underestimation goes." The Zenith fleet paused for a moment, confused by the unexpected outcome. Their formation wavered slightly, but they did not retreat. Instead, they began analyzing the Starfinder more carefully. "Scanning its hull and energy signatures, they're trying to understand our ship," Lena observed. "They've never seen anything like this. Our technology, it's confusing them." Elias allowed himself a small smile. "That's exactly what we want." Suddenly, the Starfinder shook as another energy pulse struck its shields. Lena's hands moved faster, compensating for the new attack. "They've adapted their weapons," she said. "But the shields are holding. I can stabilize them." The crew worked like a single organism. Every action was precise, measured, and calm. Even the youngest crew members moved with focus, responding to alerts, recalculating shields, and adjusting the ship's position. Though they were outnumbered, their teamwork and training gave them an edge that no alien force could predict. "Commander," Lena said, pointing at the screen, "their ships have a small vulnerability. It's not easy to hit, but I think I can disrupt it with a precise magnetic pulse. It won't destroy them, but it could disable their weapons temporarily." Elias considered her words. "Do it. Prepare a test pulse. Nothing reckless precision is the key." The bridge became a hive of quiet activity. The Starfinder adjusted its orientation, aligning its magnetic systems with the target points Lena had identified. Outside, the alien ships blinked with energy, ready to attack again. "Magnetic pulse ready," Lena announced. "Awaiting your command." Elias took a deep breath. Now, the pulse fired, a silent wave of magnetic energy that shot toward the alien ships. There was no explosion, no fire, only the subtle shift in the energy fields around the Zerith vessels. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, their weapon systems began to shut down, one by one. The glowing energy cores dimmed, and the ships lost coordination. They're losing control," Lena whispered. Elias leaned back in his chair, watching the results. "Humans do not need brute force. We need precision, creativity, and teamwork." Outside, the Zerotha ships hovered in stunned silence. Their commander's voice shook with disbelief. They used tactics. No species has done this before." The Starfinder crew exchanged glances, a mixture of pride and cautious focus. This was only the beginning. They had proven that humans could survive, even when vastly outnumbered. But they also knew that the Zerith would not give up easily. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Elias said. "They may try to surround us completely." The Starfinder shifted gently, gliding around the disabled ships. Its engines whispered through space, precise and controlled. Lena adjusted the magnetic fields again, ensuring that any further attacks from the remaining Zerath ships would be met with calculated responses. "Commander, they're sending drones," Lena reported. "Small, fast, and coordinated. They're trying to probe our defenses." Elias nodded. "Let them come. Our shields will handle them." The drones approached, moving like swarms of metallic insects. Their purpose was clear. They wanted to test, to find a weakness. But the Starfinder was ready. Its kinetic barriers activated automatically, creating invisible walls that stopped each drone without harming them. The drones bounced off harmlessly, unable to find an opening. Outside, the Zerath commander's frustration grew. He had expected an easy victory, but now every move they made was countered effortlessly. Every attack was met with precision, creativity, and adaptability, the hallmarks of human ingenuity. Inside the Starfinder, the crew remained calm. They were not celebrating victory yet, but they were confident. Every action reinforced a single truth. "Humans were not easily defeated, Commander," Lena said quietly. "They're trying to predict our next move. But our systems are learning faster than they can calculate." "They're already behind," Elias nodded. "Good. Keep monitoring. Prepare for communication. If we can, we should try to reach them before this escalates further." The Starfinder sent a new message, carefully constructed and calm. "We do not seek conflict. We defend ourselves with intelligence and care. Let us communicate peacefully." For a moment there was silence on the other side. Then the Zerath ships shifted slightly, uncertain how to respond. The aliens had assumed that fear and strength would control the humans. Instead, they were met with confidence, clever strategy, and calm courage. "Humans are different," the Zerath commander admitted aloud. A rare moment of honesty in his species' proud culture. Elias allowed himself a small smile. "Different is often stronger than expected," he said softly. The Starfinder continued its steady course through the nebula, surrounded by alien ships that no longer looked as threatening as they had moments before. The humans had shown that intelligence, teamwork, and calm determination could turn even a desperate situation into an opportunity. Above all, the crew of the Starfinder learned a truth that would stay with them forever in the vastness of space. Being alone does not mean being weak. Being human means being adaptable, creative, and unstoppable when faced with challenge. And so, the ambush that had begun as a moment of fear for the Starfinder became, instead, the first proof that humans survive, even thrive, against the unknown. They were alone, yes, but they were far from powerless. The Zerath watched in disbelief as their fleet remained, partially disabled and their tactics constantly countered. One thing had become clear. Targeting a lone human ship had been a grave miscalculation, and the humans aboard the Starfinder, calm and confident, were only beginning to show what they were capable of. The Starfinder hummed softly as it glided through the dark expanse, its adaptive shields flickering with faint blue light. Outside, the surviving Zerath ships regrouped, their glowing hulls showing signs of wear from the previous encounter. 2 ships remained disabled, drifting quietly, while the others circled cautiously, hesitant to attack again. Inside the Starfinder, the crew remained alert. Lena Hart's eyes darted between multiple holographic displays tracking the alien fleet's movements. "Commander," she said, "they're analyzing our responses, trying to find a pattern. We keep changing faster than they can calculate." Elias Grant leaned forward, his hands resting lightly on the console. "Good, keep them guessing." "That's exactly what we want. Show them what humans can do when they're underestimated." The Starfinder's small crew had already begun to feel the rhythm of the battle. Every attack, every pulse of energy, every movement of the aliens was met with careful, calculated counters. The ship's adaptive systems were not just reacting, they were learning, evolving. Each time the Zerath tried a new tactic, the Starfinder adjusted automatically, sometimes even before the aliens had fully completed their maneuver. Lena said suddenly, pointing to a cluster of readings, "I think I've found another weakness. Their energy cores have a small connection point that regulates the pulse weapons. If we can disrupt it briefly, we could neutralize their attacks without harming the ships themselves. Elias studied the display. Can it be done safely? Yes, Lena said, but it requires exact timing and precise alignment. One mistake and we could overextend our shields. Elias nodded. Prepare it. We're going to turn this fight around, but carefully. No unnecessary risks. The crew began working in quiet harmony. Sensors scanned the alien ships continuously, mapping the tiniest fluctuations in their energy flow. Lena adjusted the Starfinder's magnetic emitters, calculating angles that would reach the vulnerable points in the enemy ships. The rest of the crew monitored shields, engines, and trajectory, ready to compensate for any unexpected movement. Outside, the Zerath commander frowned as he noticed unusual energy fluctuations near the Starfinder. They're preparing something, he muttered in disbelief. Our weapons are being countered too quickly. They adapt faster than any species we've studied. Elias tapped a few controls, aligning the magnetic pulse perfectly with the alien connection points. Ready, Lena? He asked. Lena's fingers hovered over the release sequence. Ready? Elias gave the simple command. Now, a silent wave of energy shot from the Starfinder, invisible except for the faint shimmer on sensors. The pulse hit the precise points on the Zerath ship's cores. Immediately, their pulse weapons went offline for a few crucial seconds. The alien ships twitched and shuddered, unable to fire as if the Starfinder had frozen them in place. There, paralyzed, Lena whispered, awe in her voice. Not paralyzed, Elias said calmly. Adapting. Like us. They're trying to recover. The Starfinder did not attack further. Instead, it maneuvered gracefully, keeping its shields active while studying the reactions of the Zerath. Each pause, each recalculation, revealed more about the aliens' patterns. Every move the humans made was deliberate, precise, and intentional. The aliens were stunned. Their assumption that humans were weak and predictable had been shattered. Every pulse, every maneuver, every shield adjustment had turned their offensive into something that felt almost useless. The Starfinder had not only survived, it had dominated the engagement with intelligence, not brute force. Elias activated the CUM system. Zerath fleet, he said, calm and firm. We do not seek to destroy you. We defend ourselves with knowledge and precision. If you wish to continue this, know that we will not be defeated so easily. The Zerath commander's voice quivered slightly, a mixture of frustration and amazement. Humans, you are different. No species has responded this way. Lena quickly calculated the next step. Commander, the remaining weapons are attempting a coordinated strike, but they're using repeated patterns. If we intercept carefully, we can neutralize the rest without damage. Do it, Elias said. Focus on defense first, then precision. Let's finish this without unnecessary destruction. The crew moved with flawless coordination. The Starfinder's shields adjusted in microseconds, intercepting energy. Pulses while the magnetic systems gently disrupted the remaining weapons' energy flow. Each pulse from the aliens was countered before it could fully form. One by one, the Zerath ship's weapons went silent, flickering as if confused by the humans' advanced tactics. Outside, the alien commander's frustration grew. He could not comprehend the speed and adaptability of the Starfinder. Every attack they made was met with a solution they could not predict. Every attempt to trap the human ship failed. The Zerath had studied hundreds of species, yet humans proved different in a way no analysis could anticipate. Elias glanced at his crew. We've shown them we're capable, but let's give them a final reminder of what humans can do. Lena's eyes lit up. Can create a small holographic decoy. It will mimic the Starfinder's energy signature, confusing the aliens further and giving us time to maneuver. Do it, Elias said. The decoy shimmered into existence. A ghostly twin of the Starfinder reflecting the ship's energy and movements. The Zerath ships immediately reacted, redirecting their focus to the decoy. The real Starfinder slipped, gently to the side, remaining fully shielded and undetected while the aliens fired at the false target. The Zenith commander's frustration boiled over. Impossible, he shouted. They are everywhere at once. Elias allowed himself a faint smile. Not everywhere, he said softly. Just where we need to be. Using this moment, the Starfinder closed in on a position where the remaining alien ship's energy grids were most vulnerable. Lena calculated a gentle magnetic pulse again, this time designed to temporarily disable all remaining pulse weapons simultaneously. She hit the release key. A subtle shimmer passed over the alien fleet. Their weapons shut down entirely for a crucial few seconds. The Xerath ships twitched helplessly, unable to respond. The Starfinder glided through the middle of their formation unscathed. The crew exchanged quiet glances. They're outnumbered, yes, but their training, creativity, and calm thinking had allowed them to survive to turn the battle into a demonstration of human ingenuity. Elias, Lena said softly, they're not used to this. They can't predict human strategy. They may retreat now. Perhaps, he said. Or perhaps they will try one last desperate move. Either way, we've made our point. Humans are not weak. Humans are not easy to defeat. For a moment, space was silent again. Starfinder floated calmly, surrounded by alien ships that were no longer threatening, but confused and cautious. Their commander realized that what he had assumed would be an easy victory had turned into a demonstration of human adaptability, teamwork, and intelligence. Elias spoke quietly to his crew. Remember this moment. Alone, in the vastness of space, we proved that humanity survives and thrives when underestimated. This is what makes us different. The crew nodded, quietly proud. Their hearts were calm but strong, steady in the knowledge that humans were not merely explorers, they were creators, thinkers, and survivors. And as the Starfinder continued its journey through the nebula, Elias knew that this encounter would not be the last. But the lesson was clear. In the galaxy, humans were more than just another species. Alone or outnumbered, they could adapt, learn, and overcome challenges that no other species could anticipate. Even as the Xerath recovered from the encounter, the humans aboard the Starfinder had already moved beyond the immediate danger. They had turned what could have been a fight for survival into a demonstration of their greatest strengths: intelligence, teamwork, and determination. In the quiet glow of the ship's control panels, Elias looked at his crew and said softly, "We are just getting started. Out here, in the unknown, humans will always find a way." Outside, the Xerath ships hesitated, their commander realizing that the humans before him were unlike any adversary he had ever faced. For the first time, he understood that underestimating humanity was a mistake that might take a long time to correct. And in the deep, silent darkness of space, the Starfinder glided onward, its crew calm, confident, and ready for whatever lay ahead. The ambush had become a lesson. Humanity had shown its strength. The universe had begun to notice. The Starfinder moved silently through the dark expanse of the nebula, its hull gleaming faintly under the light of distant stars. The Xerath fleet, still reeling from the previous encounter, shifted cautiously, their glowing energy cores flickering as they tried to regain control. Every pulse, every move they attempted was carefully analyzed by the humans aboard the Starfinder. Commander Elias Grant stood at the center of the bridge, calm and focused. "Lena," he said, his eyes scanning the data streams, "how stable are their remaining weapons?" "They're recovering slowly," Lena replied, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Most of their pulse systems are still offline. The rest are firing in predictable patterns now. We can use that to our advantage." Elias nodded. "Good. We'll give them a lesson in patience and precision. Activate the decoy again. Let's keep them chasing shadows while we prepare our next move." A ghostly twin of the Starfinder appeared outside, shimmering with energy that mimicked the real ship perfectly. The Xerath fleet immediately redirected their attention, firing at the decoy in waves of energy pulses. Each shot was carefully absorbed or deflected by the Starfinder's shields, leaving the real ship untouched. "They don't realize it's a decoy," Lena said, a hint of excitement in her voice. "We can move while they waste energy on the false target." Elias allowed himself a small smile. "Exactly. Let them tire themselves out. Humans survive by thinking, not by brute force." Outside, the Xerath commander's frustration grew with each passing moment. His fleet was losing coordination, Energy was being wasted, and the humans remained calm. Impossible, he shouted. They should be overwhelmed. They are only one ship. Inside the Starfinder, the crew continued their work with quiet efficiency. Every system was monitored, every calculation double-checked. Lena focused on their magnetic pulse emitters, preparing another precise wave designed to temporarily disable the remaining pulse weapons of the alien fleet. Ready, Commander? Lena said. If we time it correctly, all of their remaining weapons will be offline at once. They won't know what hit them. Elias nodded. Do it. Precision is the key. We're showing them humans are not reckless. The pulse shot out, invisible to the naked eye, but precise in its effect. One by one, the Zerath ship's weapons shut down, leaving them unable to fire. Their formations wavered, their energy cores dimmed, and confusion spread across the fleet. For the first time, the Zerath realized they were outmatched in strength. But in adaptability, intelligence, and strategy, Commander Lena whispered. They're trying to retreat, but their navigation systems are struggling. Our pulse disrupted more than their weapons. Their coordination is failing. Elias nodded. Excellent. Keep monitoring. Do not attack unless necessary. This is about showing strength, not destruction. The Starfinder glided calmly through the fleet, weaving between alien ships that could no longer fire. The decoy had drawn most of their attention, and the real ship remained completely protected by its adaptive shields. The crew felt a quiet satisfaction. They had proven that, even when outnumbered, humans could survive and dominate through intelligence and teamwork. Suddenly, Lena pointed at the screen. Commander, they're attempting a new tactic. They're sending drones small, fast, and coordinated. They want to test us again. Elias leaned forward. Let them come. Our shields will handle them. Lena, ready the kinetic barriers. The drones zipped toward the Starfinder, moving like swarms of insects. Each one attempted to probe the ship's defenses, seeking a weakness. But the Starfinder was ready. Kinetic barriers activated automatically, creating invisible walls that stopped each drone before it could reach the hole. The drones bounced harmlessly away, unable to find any opening. They can't get through, Lena said, a smile forming on her face. They've never seen anything like this before. Every move we make counters them perfectly. Elias nodded. This is exactly the lesson we need to teach them. Humans are not weak. Humans adapt, and humans never give up. Outside, the Zerath commander's frustration turned into disbelief. He had expected an easy victory, a single ship to capture or destroy. Instead, he faced a crew that thought faster than his fleet could react. It calculated each move with intelligence he could not match. Elias activated the CUM system. Zerath fleet, he said, calm and confident. We do not seek conflict. We only defend ourselves. But if attacked, we will respond with precision and intelligence. You have learned now that humans cannot be underestimated. There was silence for a moment. Then, a slow, measured response came from the Zerath commander, tinged with respect and disbelief. Humans, you are unlike anything we expected. Your strategy, your adaptability, it is remarkable. Inside the Starfinder, Lena quickly calculated their next step. Commander, we can gently guide them out of this area without further confrontation. A final pulse to stabilize their remaining systems, and they'll be unable to attack again for some time. Do it, Elias said. Let them leave safely, but let them know humans are not to be underestimated. The Starfinder fired a precise, controlled magnetic pulse. The wave flowed over the remaining Zerath ships, stabilizing their energy cores and temporarily disabling their weapons. There was no harm done, but the aliens could not fire again for several minutes. They're stunned, Lena whispered. Good, Elias said. That's exactly what we wanted. Respect without destruction. The Zerath ships slowly began to move away, still observing the Starfinder carefully. Their commander's voice came over the CUM once more, quieter this time, with a hint of reverence. Humans, we misjudged you. You are capable beyond expectation. We will remember this. Elias allowed himself a small smile. As long as we are left to explore peacefully, we are happy to leave it at that. Humans do not seek unnecessary conflict, but we will defend ourselves when needed. The alien fleet finally withdrew, leaving the Starfinder alone in the nebula once again. The crew exhaled quietly, the tension slowly leaving their bodies. They had faced an ambush, adapted instantly, and emerged not only unharmed, but respected by a species that had considered them weak. Elias turned to his crew. "Remember this day," he said. "This is what it means to be human. Alone, outnumbered, facing the unknown, we adapt. We learn and we survive. And when necessary, we do so with intelligence and care, not recklessness." The crew nodded, proud and calm. Each of them understood that they had done something remarkable. They had proven that even a single human ship could face an advanced alien fleet and not only survive, but teach a lesson in strategy, teamwork, and adaptability. Outside the Starfinder, the nebula shimmered with soft light as the alien ships disappeared into the distance. The Starfinder moved onward, its adaptive shields humming gently, engines whispering softly as it returned to its path of exploration. Inside, Lena smiled. "Commander, they'll be talking about us for a long time." "Humans, we're more than they expected," Elias nodded. "Exactly. Humans are not just explorers. We are thinkers, we adapt, and we endure. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes us unstoppable when underestimated." The crew of the Starfinder returned to their workstations, monitoring systems, recalculating paths, and ensuring the ship was in perfect condition. They were calm, focused, and ready for whatever the universe might present next. For the first time, Starfinder was more than a small ship in a dangerous nebula. It was a symbol, a reminder that even in the deepest darkness, humans were capable of brilliance, ingenuity, and courage beyond measure. The Zenith, treating silently, would carry this lesson with them. The humans they had tried to ambush had proven something undeniable, that intelligence, teamwork, and adaptability were powers that no brute force could ever fully overcome. And in the silent vastness of space, the Starfinder glided forward, ready to face the unknown once again. Its crew calm, confident, and proud. Humanity had turned the tide. Humanity had shown its strength, and the universe had begun to take notice. The Starfinder moved steadily through the deep black of space, the soft hum of its engines echoing through the quiet corridors. The nebula behind them was now calm, its soft lights painting the ship in gentle blues and purples. The Zereth fleet had retreated, leaving the humans alone, but the encounter had left a lasting mark. The crew of the Starfinder knew they had changed something in the minds of their observers. "Commander," Elias Grant stood at the center of the bridge, his eyes scanning the empty space ahead. "They won't attack again for now," he said quietly. "But this encounter has taught them a lesson, one that will take time to forget." Lena Hart leaned back slightly in her chair, her fingers moving lazily over the control panel. "They weren't expecting us to think this way. They thought humans were easy to scare. They thought we would panic." Elias nodded. "Humans survive because we adapt. We don't rely on size, strength, or fear. We rely on intelligence, creativity, and teamwork. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us unstoppable when underestimated." Outside the ship, the stars stretched endlessly, a calm reminder that the universe was vast and full of unknowns. The Starfinder had proven that humans could survive even the most dangerous situations. But more importantly, they had proven that humans could thrive when challenged. "Commander," Lena said, her voice soft but excited, "I've been analyzing the Zereth fleet's last movements. Their systems are still recovering from our pulse. They won't be fully operational for hours. We could safely send them assistance if we wanted to." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Assistance, you mean? Help them after they tried to destroy us?" "Yes," Lena said. "It would show them that humans are not only capable of defending themselves, but we are also willing to act with intelligence and respect. It could prevent future conflicts." Elias smiled faintly. "Very well. Prepare a message. Let's show them what humanity truly represents." Lena worked quickly, sending a carefully constructed communication to the Zirath fleet. It included instructions on repairing their damaged ships, methods to stabilize their energy cores, and suggestions for restoring their navigation systems. There was no threat, no arrogance, only clear, intelligent guidance. The Zenith commander received the message and hesitated. He had expected humans to act with aggression, but this was something entirely new. Humans not only survived, but offered assistance to their would-be attackers. "This is unusual," he said quietly, almost to himself. "No species has ever done this before. They are remarkable." Back on the Starfinder, the crew watched the communications system carefully. Within moments, the Zirath fleet acknowledged the message. "We accept your guidance," the commander said. "Humans, you have taught us something unexpected. We will remember this." Lias nodded, a quiet sense of pride settling over him. "Good. Let them learn that strength comes in many forms, not just weapons or numbers, but intelligence, patience, and strategy." The Starfinder continued its journey through the nebula. The crew returning to their regular tasks. Sensors were checked, systems monitored, and trajectories recalculated. Everything was precise, calm, and controlled. The crew felt proud, but they were not overconfident. They understood that the universe was vast and full of challenges, but they also understood that humans could face them with courage and intelligence. Lena smiled as she watched the stars pass by. "Commander, we did more than survive. We proved that humans can outthink any threat, even when outnumbered. And we did it without destruction," Lias nodded. "That's the essence of humanity. We are creators, thinkers, and survivors. We adapt, we learn, and we thrive. Then, in the face of the unknown." The Starfinder approached the edge of the nebula, entering open space once again. Ahead lay uncharted systems, new stars, and unknown possibilities. The encounter with the Zirath had tested them, but it had also strengthened them. They had learned that their greatest weapon was not their ship, not their shields, but their minds and their ability to work together as a team. Suddenly, the sensors picked up a faint signal in the distance. Elias leaned forward, studying the readouts. "Another anomaly," he said calmly. "Possibly another system worth exploring. We've faced one challenge. Now we move to the next." Lena's eyes lit up. "And now we know that nothing will stop us, not alien fleets, not unknown hazards. We are ready for whatever comes next." The crew prepared the Starfinder for their next course. Engines hummed softly, shields remained active, and sensors scanned the distance. There was no fear, only focus and determination. Each crew member understood the significance of what they had just accomplished. They had faced overwhelming odds, turned the situation in their favor, and emerged stronger, wiser, and more confident. Commander Lena said softly, "I think the Zirath will remember this encounter for a long time. They'll think twice before challenging humans again." Elias smiled faintly. "Let them. But remember, we did not fight for glory. We fought to survive and to show that humans are capable of more than anyone ever imagined." As the Starfinder moved deeper into uncharted space, a quiet calm settled over the crew. They were explorers, but they were also pioneers, representing humanity's spirit wherever they traveled. Each star, each system, each unknown planet was an opportunity to prove once again that humans could face anything, adapt and succeed. Hours passed. The nebula faded behind them, leaving only the endless black of space and the distant glow of stars. The Starfinder glided forward, silent, graceful, and unstoppable. Elias walked slowly through the bridge, looking at each crew member in turn. "Remember this moment," he said softly. "Not because of the danger we faced, but because of what we showed the universe. Humans do not back down. Humans adapt. Humans endure. And humans, when underestimated, can accomplish the impossible." The crew nodded quietly, taking in the weight of their experience. They had been tested, and they had proven themselves. The Starfinder was no longer just a ship. It was a symbol of humanity's ingenuity, courage, and spirit. Far behind them, the Zirath fleet continued its retreat. Their commander remained silent for a long time, processing the encounter. For the first time, he understood that humans were not simply another species in the galaxy. They were unpredictable, intelligent, and remarkably resourceful. And that unpredictability made humans dangerous in ways no brute force could overcome. The Starfinder moved onward, deeper into the unknown, ready for whatever the universe had to offer. Its crew was calm, confident, and proud. They had survived an ambush, outsmarted an advanced alien fleet, and taught a lesson in intelligence, adaptability, and strategy. And as the stars stretched endlessly ahead, Commander Elias Grant knew that humanity had made its mark not through destruction, not through aggression, but through courage, intelligence, and the unyielding spirit that defined them, somewhere in the minds of the Zirath. The lesson would remain: never underestimate a human. For even a lone ship, with a small crew, can outthink and outmaneuver an entire fleet when determination and intelligence are on its side. Inside the Starfinder, the crew smiled quietly, sharing a sense of calm satisfaction. They had faced the unknown, survived, and thrived. And they knew that no matter what lay ahead in the galaxy, humanity would continue to endure, adapt, and inspire awe wherever they traveled. The Starfinder glided onward, a single human ship moving through the vast, dark universe, alone but unstoppable, quietly but powerfully. And the universe, vast and mysterious as it was, had begun to take notice. For the humans aboard the Starfinder, this was only the beginning. The stars were full of unknown worlds, challenges, and opportunities, but one truth remained clear: humans were not to be underestimated, and in that endless expanse of black, the Starfinder continued its journey, carrying the spirit of humanity forward, intelligent, adaptable, courageous, and unstoppable.